Yes, हाँ जी.
हाँ जी, sorry, मैं अपने phone तो कर रही हूँ. I left my iPad at home. So
Okay.
phone तो कर रही हूँ. Okay जी.
Dimple, we can start.
Yeah, one second. बस I'm starting. Live शुरू कर दिया मैंने.
Yes, हाँ जी.
हाँ जी, sorry, मैं अपने phone तो कर रही हूँ. I left my iPad at home. So
Okay.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Good morning to overseas. Ram, Walaikum Salam. I thought let's start a surprise for everyone today. So let me start the session with a surprise. I'm sure everybody will be happy once again with the new topic which is coming in the month of December, that is Dynasty of Life. So this is our December series and only just a month left. So I just said, let me disclose today the topic of the next series. So please make a note that in the month of December, our Buaji Vindrikor is coming with a new topic, Dynasty of Life in the month of December. Thank you so much, Buaji.
God bless you.
Okay, so now we'll start with the today's session. Yes, over to you, Buaji.
A warm welcome to all the participants. We start with the third day. Good evening to you all. Good morning to the overseas. Ram ji, Sat Sri Akal, Vaheguru ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki Fateh, Assalamu Alaikum. So let's start with the buying. I think 2 days. I hope you have all digested it. A lot of queries. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared to not voice it out. Any doubts after the session, you can voice out your questions. So without wasting our time, let's hear Arwa ji again. So Arwa, I will greet you because we have short of time. Topic is very long. So yes, Arwa ji, you can just take over the topic, please.
Thank you, Buaji. Hello, everyone. Today, we are in the concluding workshop of fear. But we will have question answers and open discussions tomorrow. And we request you all to please go through all the 3 webinars. Rimple has been very kind enough and posted everything on the YouTube links on the group. Just go through them and evaluate yourself. And come tomorrow ready with your questions. We are here to help you. And we sincerely hope that by the end of today's session, you would have a lot of your queries answered and will be in a much, much better situation to deal with fear. आज कुछ अलग करते हैं. We will start with a video clip.
Time with Kutu, Ki and Minku. Subscribe now.
Who's there?
Kutu is tossing and turning about. Surely the creepy crawlies are out. The darkness is here. The darkness is there. Help! The darkness is everywhere.
Ah! Who's there?
Kutu is afraid. A witch with big eyes and rotten braids. Oh, a couple of owls and a tree as it sways.
Hiya! What's that?
Kutu is scared, hungry for dinner. Is it an angry bear? A pile of clothes as they lay on the chair.
Eek! Who's there?
Kutu jumps with a fright. A smelly old man to steal him at night. A bunch of toys and a hat. That's right.
What's that?
Kutu squeaks and squirms. A well-planned attack by an army of worms. It's only Naughty Key and her pair of naughty arms. No more tossing and turning, Kutu. Key is right there with you. When the darkness feels too dark and the night gives you a fright, always remember to turn on a light.
It's a very small video, लेकिन बहुत सिखाता है हमें. क्या देखा आपने? क्या सच्ची में was there something to be fearful about? Or was it just Kutu's perception? In the same context, evaluate your fears and you will realize that most of your fears are delusional. It's all in your head. You know, fear is also an underlying emotion. The tip of the iceberg, जब phobia होता है. What is that? वो क्या होता है? It is depression. Depression के नीचे it's anxiety. Anxiety के नीचे stress. और फिर आता है fear. अगर नीचे से आप देखोगे तो fear है, fear which is leading to stress, and because of stress you are getting anxiety, और बहुत ज्यादा anxiety हो जाती है तो extreme anxiety is leading you to depression. And the base of all this, जो नीचे का base होता है ना, what is all that? That is your ego. Because आपने अपने दिमाग में fix कर लिया है that you are fearful of something. And that is so deep rooted. तो अगर आपको कोई realize करवाता है that your fear can be your illusion, your ego will not let it accept you. You will bring 10,000 different reasonings to prove that you are right. Because we are not ready to accept that our beliefs are irrational. Now let me tell you. कल हमने phobias के बारे में बात की थी. How do you overcome phobia? क्या लगता है आपको? पहले वीडियो देख लेते हैं.
A lot of people are scared, right? They don't act because they're scared. But I would ask yourself another question, because usually people is like, oh, I'm scared if I do this, this is what's going to happen. But then reframe that question, and you're still using the power of questions. Ask yourself, what will happen if you don't do this? Because then you use that fear in something that can help you to move positively forward. So if fear is a big motivator for you, utilize that instead of being at the effect of it, and be fearful of what will happen if you don't do what is most important.
क्या सुना आपने? See, exactly. People can learn to overcome phobias by gradually facing their fears. This is not easy, mind you. I'm telling you, it's not easy. Taking the first step, acknowledging, it takes willingness and bravery. आपको अपने से डिसीजन लेना है that I want to fight my fears. तभी आप कर पाओगे. किसी के भी कहने पर नहीं. मैं आपको 10 नुस्खे क्या 100 नुस्खे बता सकती हूँ. लेकिन अगर आपने ठान लिया है that आपको आपका थॉट प्रोसेस नहीं क्वेश्चन करना है, तो मेरे 10 या 100 नुस्खे पे आपके 1000 आंसर्स होंगे that how it will not help you. This has to come to you from within, and then only you will be able to fight your fears. किसी के भी कहने के ऊपर नहीं हो सकता ये. Yes, it is true that sometimes people need the help of a therapist. आप अपने से नहीं कर सकते हो. You need a therapist to guide you through the process. Often, the hardest part to overcoming a phobia is getting started. Once you decide to go for it and get the right coaching and support, it can be surprising how quickly the phobia and the fear can melt away. Repeated exposures to similar situations leads to familiarity, which can dramatically reduce both the fear and the fear response. Slowly minimizing the fear response by making it feel familiar. जैसे suppose आपको green color का phobia है. Anything green and you freak out. ये कहाँ से आया? जब आप छोटे थे, आप अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ किसी हिल स्टेशन पे घूमने के लिए गए थे और वहां आपने किसी ट्री को टच किया. बच्चे हैं ना, यहाँ वहां हाथ लगाते हैं. सो मच ऑफ एंशियस दिस थिंग इज द क्यूरियोसिटी इज देयर कि क्या है क्या नहीं है. यू टच्ड अ ट्री नॉट रियलाइजिंग दैट इट वाज अ चमेलियन. वो जो लिजर्ड के जैसी होती है जो कलर्स चेंज करती है. आई डोंट नो हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं. इट्स कॉल्ड अ चमेलियन. एंड द मोमेंट यू टच इट, it wriggles off your touch and goes up the tree. You are terrified. And after that, whenever you see anything green, you just flip. See, with proper help, आप क्या कर सकते हो? आप पहले दूर से green color को रोज देखो. You get familiar with it. Then you go near and again see it daily for a couple of days. You get more familiar. Then you slowly touch it and do it daily. You get more familiar and comfortable about it. कि भाई चलो ये सही है, nothing is going wrong. And then you wear something green. That's how repeated exposure helps you get rid of your phobias. Phobia treatments that are based on psychology of, phobia treatments that are based on psychology of fear tend to focus on techniques like systematic desensitization and flooding. आपको लगता होगा मैं बहुत बड़े बड़े वर्ड्स यूज कर रही हूं. अमिगडाला, सिस्टमैटिक डिसेंसिटाइजेशन. अब ये सिस्टमैटिक डिसेंसिटाइजेशन क्या है? चलिए देखते हैं.
Let's talk about systematic desensitization. Phil hates flying. It makes him anxious. First, Phil should create a hierarchy of his anxious thoughts, rating them on a scale of 1 to 10. Next, a counselor should guide him through relaxation, first helping him relax, then focusing on a neutral scene, and finally, presenting the anxiety-provoking scene. If the anxiety-provoking scene makes him too anxious, revisit the neutral, relaxing scene and begin again with something a little less intimidating. Be sure you start small with the least intimidating thought and move forward until you have conquered the fear.
Created using Powtoon.
क्या समझे आप? With systematic desensitization, you are gradually led through a series of exposure situations. जैसे मैंने अभी वो example दिया, green color का. Overcoming a phobia usually starts with making a long list of the person's fears in least to worst order. For example, with a dog phobia, the list might start with the things the person is least afraid of, such as looking at a photo of a dog. उसे उसको इतना डर नहीं लगता है. डर तो लगता है लेकिन इतना ज्यादा नहीं. It will then work all the way up to the worst fears, such as standing next to someone who's petting a dog, or petting a dog on a leash, or even taking a walk for a dog, the dog for a walk. Sorry. Another example. If you have a fear of snakes, you may spend the first session with your therapist talking about snakes. Slowly and subsequent sessions, your therapist would lead you through looking at pictures of snakes, playing with toy snakes, and eventually handling a live snake. This is usually accompanied by learning and applying new coping techniques to manage the fear response. Side by side, you read about snakes, get knowledge about what snakes are all about. Gradually, with the support, you try each fear situation on the list, one at a time. starting with the least fear. You are not forced to do anything and work on each fear until you are comfortable. There is no time limit for this. Taking as long as needed. आप अपने सबसे बड़े fear से नहीं start कर सकते. जो सबसे कम fearful है, आप वही से शुरू करो. Imagine आपको सांप से डर लगता है. Whether poisonous or not is not the question. आपको सांप से, only the sight of a snake, even in a picture, freaks you out. And in your first attempt to fight your fear, you have to touch a snake or wrap it around you. What will happen? Can you even imagine? You will pass out of the fear and the anxiety. You will just pass out. This is not how you fight fear. There is a proper process, and you have to go through the process. And let your mind take its proper time to fight the emotion. You may expect terrible things to happen when you have the fear of something. Talking about this also can help. आप जब बात करते हो, आप खुद भी realize करते हो that whatever you're talking about your fears, is it really worth worrying about? So you see, when you talk, it helps you. Another tactic of helping fighting fear, phobia is flooding. अब ये flooding क्या है? This is a type of exposure technique that can be quite successful. Flooding based on the premises that your phobia is a learned behavior and you need to unlearn it. Means, अगर आपको excessive crowd का phobia है, you are made to sit in a room which is pretty crowded. You are made to do this often, which slowly makes you realize that a crowded room which was causing claustrophobia to you, now you can tolerate it. With flooding, you are exposed to a vast quantity of the feared objects or exposed to a feared situation for a very prolonged amount of time in a very safe and a controlled environment until the fear diminishes. For instance, if you are afraid of planes, हमने कल बात की थी कि आप ट्रेन की सीट पे से टॉप सीट पे से गिर गए थे, उसके बाद आपको हाइट्स की बहुत डर है एंड प्लेन्स सबसे ज्यादा बिकॉज दैट इज फ्लाइंग द हाईएस्ट. रॉकेट्स में तो आप जाने वाले हो नहीं. द फ्लाइट इज द हाईएस्ट वेयर यू कैन सिट इन, राइट? तो आपको बहुत डर है. व्हाट इज दैट कॉल्ड? एक्रोफोबिया. यू वुड गो अप ऑन इन वन एनीवे. आपको डर है लेकिन फिर भी आप जाओगे. You fly despite a fear of flying and become used to these unfamiliar sensations like takeoff, like जब flight takeoff होता है और turbulence होता है. You learn what to expect and have a chance to watch what the others do to relax and to enjoy the flight. Gradually and safely facing your fears help you overcome it. And nowadays, so we have these flight simulators where we know that we are on the ground only. You just get the feeling of flying in the sky, but you are very much on the ground. तो जब ये पता है, तो वो डर थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. Similarly, if you are scared of the dark, like Kuttu, the fear may not be related only to darkness itself, but unknown dangers, which are hidden in the darkness. Again, imaginative mind, which is why this horror and suspense movies often use darkness in a way to scare the viewers. ये scary movies देखी आपने? They will always use such type of scenes, darkness, with andhera, that squeaky noise, because of the imaginative mind, how it works on us. Fear of darkness can also be lack of security and confidence, and it can play into this as well. Especially if you tend to be afraid of the dark more often while alone. Why? Because you have insecurity. The fear of darkness may also be related to separation anxiety, say from your parent or some member of your family. God forbid, I just hope may God give our parents a long and healthy life, those who have them. But suppose you are very close to your parent and your parent is no more and you are yet young. So that the loss of the separation from your parent or from your grandparent or somebody who you are very close to, or even your favorite teddy bear or a toy, what will you do? you will desensitize yourself by giving exposure to the dark in small, incremental, non-threatening doses. Like stay in the dark and realize that nothing happens. This should only be done under professional supervision because you can get hyper. So please do not try this on your own. You can also have one-on-one talk therapy with your therapist, or you can do relaxation techniques such as deep breathing. It will help you. Also, what we see, on these reality shows where the person is sleeping in a casket of cockroaches. The point is to get you past the overwhelming anxiety and the potential panic to a place where you have to confront your fear and eventually realize that you're okay. This can help reinforce a positive reaction. You are not in danger with a feared event. Being in the sky on a plane, or in the dark, or in a casket with cockroaches, or in a room with many people, ultimately getting you past the fear. A therapist will also teach relaxation practices, such as specific ways of breathing, muscle relaxation training, or soothing self-talk. These can help you feel comfortable and bold enough to face the fears on your life. And as you get used to a feared object or a situation, the brain adjusts how it responds and the phobia is overcome. Jaise, you get used to it, then even the brain realizes. So the amygdala will not send signals of fright and fear, and that fight and flight wala condition nahi hoga aapka, because you get used to it. While these treatments can be highly effective, it is very, very important that such confrontational approaches be undertaken only with the guidance of a trained mental health professional. Khud se nahi karna, please. You will really land yourself in trouble. But see, now this was how you treat the extreme fear and phobias. These are what I told you. कि आप कैसे कर सकते हो? Slowly, gradually, exposure, flooding, systematic desensitization. But there are also steps that you can take to help cope with the fear in your day-to-day life. Such strategies focus on managing the physical, emotional, and behavioral effects of fear. Some things you can do by yourself to help you fight your fears. Something like take time out. Just go for a walk or distract yourself with something else. Breathe through panic. Breathe in slowly and deeply and breathe out through your mouth. What happens? When you do this, your body relaxes, the muscles relax, the mind relaxes, and you are able to gauge how bad the potential danger is. If you are in panic, the muscles tighten, the body is on alert, the brain is sending signals of fight or flight. So breathe deeply and relax. Face your fears, face it, and see what happens. Kya hoga? These I'm not talking of phobias and extreme fear. This I'm talking of your day-to-day fears. Imagine the worst. Imagine कि worst क्या हो सकता है. Hope for the best. That saying is hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Imagine करो कि अगर worst हो सकता है तो क्या होगा? What can it happen? Look at the evidence. Read, research, and find out if your fears truly have any base. These days we have Mr. Google with all the knowledge. All you have to do is make an effort. Just on a click of a button, आपको सब पता चल जाएगा. And don't try to be perfect. No one is. You could be soft and vulnerable and sensitive, and it's okay. You can try to be otherwise. आप try कर सकते हो, लेकिन you don't have to challenge yourself for it. It's okay. Like the lady who asked the questions yesterday. Don't try to please everyone. You are also human. You are also aging and not able to perform what you used to. It's okay. First, if you accept this yourself, you will be able to make others accept you. अगर आप खुद कहोगे नहीं मुझे तो सुपर वुमन ही हमेशा रहना है, नहीं तो my family will be unhappy and you are scared of the repercussions, आप किसी और को कैसे समझा पाओगे? You have to first accept in yourself. वो अलग बात है that आप कोशिश करो to do otherwise. You try to be superwoman. आप कोशिश कर सकते हो because you want it that way. लेकिन first you have to understand for yourself कि आपकी limitations क्या है, आप क्या कर सकते हो, आप क्या नहीं कर सकते हो. And try to do as much as you can. Another way of getting away from your fear is, visualizing a happy place. Imagine where you had gone last and, you had a lot of fun. Some good holiday, met someone, some picnic, some social service. It could be anything. Talk about it. It's okay to have doubts and fears. Talk about it and realize it's not that bad as you had imagined. It will make you feel lighter and less fearful. Another important thing that you should do, go back to your basics. What are the basics? Eat well, sleep well, and exercise. Again, a healthy body and a healthy mind helps you lead a healthy life. So the fear will go away. So go back to your basics. Another important thing, reward yourself. See, overcoming fear is hard. It's an automatic process that can make you freeze and leave you feeling totally drained. If you have pushed through, took the first step, reflect on your bravery and be proud. Give a pat on your back. Acknowledge your achievement. If you only discourage yourself, अरे क्या यार मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाई, नहीं आपने कुछ तो किया. You took the first step, the baby step. That's fine. Then, how else? Practice mindfulness. While you cannot always prevent certain emotions, being mindful can help you manage them and replace negative thoughts with more helpful ones. This is what Vindriji is talking about in all her sessions, all the time. Mindfulness. It is the need of the hour. It helps you to live a peaceful and happy life. अगर आपने कभी ट्राई नहीं किया है तो प्लीज ट्राई. बी माइंडफुल. अगर आपको मैंने बोलूं कि 10 मिनट आंख बंद करके आपको सिर्फ कुछ भी नहीं, यू हैव टू जस्ट इमेजिन वेयर यू वर और समथिंग, और यू आर इन अ गार्डन, आप नहीं कर पाओगे बिकॉज आपको 10 अलग ख्याल आएंगे. अरे चूल्हे पे ये रखा था, वो है, बच्चा रो रहा है, कपड़े धोने हैं. बी माइंडफुल and see how it helps you. Use stress management techniques such as deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and visualization. Do yoga. Another way is acknowledge and learn from your fear. See, everyone encounters fear-inducing situations. सबको होता है. Nobody can tell me कि मेरे को तो कभी कोई fear हुआ ही नहीं है. Even if you don't act how you'd hoped in that moment, आपने सोचा होगा कि अगर मुझे अब होगा तो I will act this way, मैं ऐसा करूंगी, वैसा करूंगी. It's okay, even if you have not done it. Reflecting on why you found the situation so overwhelming. आप क्यों नहीं कर पाए? What happened? It can help you be better equipped to deal with the similar situation the next time. Okay, ये time नहीं हुआ, next time कर पाओगे. But just evaluate कि क्या हुआ? Why did you freeze? क्यों नहीं कर पाए आप? Fear could be a sign that you are doing things that are out of your comfort zone. Understanding that fear can be a sign that you're challenging yourself and can help you push through and find the strength. Another most important thing, having a feeling of belonging. I belong to God, or God is taking care of me. Or there is my teacher, or my parents, or my family, or my master to whom I belong. The power above is taking care of me. The divine is taking care of me. क्या होता है? By having a sense of belonging, the fear goes away. You belong to somebody. You belong to God. You belong to the Creator. You belong to this world or belong to some power. With that sense of belonging, the fear goes away. This may be easier, simpler to do. जैसे अगर एक बच्चा रात को अपने कमरे में सोता है तो डर से उठ जाएगा और फिर वो आधी रात को अपनी माँ के पास जाकर सोएगा और सुकून से सो जाएगा. वो क्यों? Why? Because he knows that he belongs to his mother and she is there to protect him. Then उसे कोई डर नहीं लगता. Same way, when we realize that we belong to the divine or belong to God, we are at ease. And there is someone above us, someone overlooking us. See, one day we all have to bid goodbye to everything. Absolutely everything, including our own body. You will have to say goodbye, है ना? आप तो नहीं कहते सकते हो कि भाई I will to live permanent. मैं तो रहने वाली हूँ, मैं कभी नहीं मरने वाली हूँ या मैं कभी नहीं मरने वाला हूँ. So this awareness also brings enormous strength from within. And you will be able to laugh. कि यार मैं क्या, what these worldly things am I getting scared of? क्यों? Okay, now let me tell you a story, another story. I love telling stories. All these 3 days I've told you all a story, है ना? चलो आज भी शुरू करते हैं. Once upon a time, there was this woman who has been lost in the desert for 3 whole days without water. Stories of the desert fascinate me because, as you all know, I live in the UAE, which is a desert. So, मुझे बहुत मजा आता है. And I can even imagine कि क्या होगा, how would the situation be like, because I know what it is like to, if you have gone in the desert, कैसे क्या feeling होती है, I can imagine. So I enjoy it more. Okay, coming back to the story, let's not get diverted. Just as she was about to collapse, 3 दिन से उसने पानी नहीं पिया है, and she's been walking in the desert because she was lost, and she has been walking. She's just about to collapse, and she saw what appeared to be a lake just a few hundred yards in front of her. Could it be सच्ची में पानी होगा? Or is it just a mirage? She thought to herself. What do you think? क्या था? सच्ची में पानी होगा? या is it just her imagination? It was just a mirage. Could it be real? Real water or mirage? With the last bit of strength she could muster, she staggered towards the lake and quickly learned that her prayers had been answered. It was no mirage. It was indeed a large spring-fed lake full of fresh water. More fresh water than she could ever drink in her lifetime. Yet, while she was literally dying of thirst, she couldn't bring herself to drink the water. She simply stood by the water's edge and stared down at it. बस ऐसे ही पानी को देखती रही. 3 दिन से उसे कोई नहीं मिला. Coincidentally, there was a passerby riding on a camel from a nearby desert. वो भी कहीं जाता होगा. From a town, he must be going to another town. And he was watching her. He was watching this woman's bizarre behavior. He got off his camel, walked up to the thirsty woman. He could see that, she was very parched. होंठ सूखे हुए थे, चमड़ी वो पूरी चुमला गई थी. She was actually parched with thirst. And her skin had wrinkled up. And he asked her, why don't you have a drink, ma'am? क्या हुआ? She looked up at the man with an exhausted, distraught expression across her face and tears swelling up in her eyes. I am dying of thirst, she said, but there is way too much water here in this lake to drink. No matter what I do, I can't possibly finish it all. The passerby, he just smiled. He bent down, scooped some water by with his hands, lifted it to the woman's mouth and said, ma'am, Your opportunity right now, and as you move forward throughout the rest of your life, is to understand that you don't have to drink the whole lake to quench your thirst. You can simply take one sip, just one small sip, and then another if you choose. Focus only on the mouthful in front of you, and all your anxiety, fear, and overwhelm. Okay. Focus only on the mouthful in front of you, and all your anxiety, fear, and overwhelm about the rest will gradually fade away. What do you think? What did you learn from this? Will you write in the chat box? What did you learn from this story? Yes. Anybody else? No ideas? Today, no response. Satisfactions, okay. Satisfaction, yes. Thank you. Baby steps. Yeah, we learn is if we concentrate on small, manageable steps, we can cross unimaginable distances. Remember, don't worry about all the steps. Just begin. Big things happen when you do the little things right. Success is the sum of the small efforts taken day in and day out. आपको directly success नहीं आएगा. Every day, what little you have done, at the end, you will see the success. The irony of life is we forget that not everything that we faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until we face it. अगर आप face ही नहीं करोगे तो आप change कैसे करोगे? It is better to take many small steps in the right direction than to take a great leap forward only to stumble backward. Let's go ahead in life and simply understand that getting from point A to point Z can be daunting unless we remember that we don't have to go from A to Z. We have to only go from A to B and then B to C and so on till we reach Z. पहले से आप सोचोगे मुझे A to Z करना है तो आप नहीं कर पाओगे. Breaking the big dreams into small steps is the way to move forward. Same way, dealing with your fears slowly and steadily and taking one step at a time will definitely help you overcome them, leaving you feeling strong and confident. Agar aap sochoge that I have a phobia and it will take me so long, I don't have the time. Arey, aap shuru to karo. Then see how much time it takes and what happens. At least make a start. अब एक राज की बात बताऊं? You know, even I have fear. And my biggest fear is to be dependent on someone as and how I get old. Not able to perform. बूढ़ी हो गई, कुछ नहीं कर पाई, bedridden हो गई, and I will be dependent on people. That is my biggest fear. I'm not able to take that in. The thought of me being dependent, it kills me from inside. So what am I doing about this fear? मैं क्या कर रही हूँ? First, I'm trying my best to stay in good health. And I'm thinking, I don't even know how long I'm going to live. Why fear from now? What if after this webinar only I get a massive heart attack and I'm gone? Why imagine the future and worry about it? जब वक्त आएगा देखा जाएगा. And मुझसे ज्यादा the power above is more worried. उसे उसके हर बंदे की फिक्र होती है. Maybe I might not be dependent at all. So why make my life miserable now, thinking about what could happen? When it does, I will deal with it that time. So, I end today's webinar hoping and praying you all lead a happy, fearless life. Thank you. Over to you, Buaji.
Thank you, Arwa. Thank you so much. So we are getting a lot of techniques also of how to overcome our fears. So let us give a little bit of light on the spirituality of it. First thing, as she has very well cleared it up, that we first have to acknowledge. Label it and acknowledge. Until we don't acknowledge, we will not be able to overcome our fears. For example, हमारे घर में एक maid है, or anyone is there, और वो चोरी कर रही है. हमको आइडिया हो जाता है कि वो चोरी कर रही है. But I don't label, I just overlook it. Why? Because I'm in my comfort zone कि निकाल दिया तो काम कौन करेगा? मेरे को ये भी डर है कि वो चला गया तो काम कौन करेगा? So I'm just trying to overlook. Not trying to understand in the long run, she can go a big and walk out of the house. So I have to understand what are going to be the repercussion of by not putting her out of the house or checking. Until I don't elevate myself with this knowledge of what are going to be the negative result of fear, we will not eradicate it. So we know negative force, emotion, fear can destroy our body. All these diseases are caused from there. Not only our body, our mental state, our immunity system all goes down. That is why infection and viruses catch us very fast. That's what happened during the COVID time. Now spirituality says, जहाँ पे भी अंधेरा है, वहाँ पे आपको प्रकाश तो लेके आना पड़ेगा, तभी अंधेरा जाएगा. हमारे लिए अंधेरा क्या है? Spirituality, ignorance, our wrong perceptions, our belief systems, our illusions and delusions. These are all our ignorance because we have not educated ourselves and we are always living in fear. Always living in fear. So अगर इस अंधेरे को खत्म करना है, इस डर को खत्म करना है, we have to educate ourselves. We have to have the knowledge what Arwaji has been giving on the last 3 days. So that is why अंधेरे ने अगर जाना है तो हम लोगों को, yes, very nice, Diwali is there. What have we been doing in Diwali? हम पटाखे छोड़ देते, सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. It's some festival that's coming. But what is it? क्या अंधेरा चला जाता है? No. It is a symbolic कि जो हमारे अंदर वो अंधेरा डर का है, वो जो अंधेरा हमारे नेगेटिव के साथ है, उसको खत्म करो, उसकी सफाई करो. किसके साथ? With the knowledge what you are imparting to us now. This is like the light. यही प्रकाश है, यही knowledge है, जिसके साथ हम खत्म कर सकते हैं. So what happens? A very big important chapter in spirituality tells कि अगर आप लोगों ने अपने अंधेरे को खत्म करना है, we each and every one have to connect to our identity. Our identity is what? हमारा मूल कौन है? That oneness. वो है कहाँ पे? वो मेरे अंदर ही है. अगर हमको ये चीज का पता होता है, we would have been connected to that oneness, to our identity, we would have been fearless. पर हम टूटे हुए because we are ignorant. We don't have the knowledge. So you can understand how much knowledge is important for us. Knowledge is endless. There's no limit to it. Till our death, we have to gain knowledge. जिस दिन मैंने कह दिया मेरे को बहुत पता लग गया, समझो मेरे को कुछ भी नहीं पता. So when we take this knowledge works as a light, which disperses the ignorance, disperses the darkness in us. Because they say our identity is love. God is love. We are love. Where there is love, there can be no fear. So that means हम लोग क्या हैं? हम किस चीज की मूर्ति हैं? हम actually निर्भव हैं. हम fearless हैं. ये तो उसका एक का गुण है. ये उसका virtue है. और मेरी ये identity, I'm supposed to be fearless. मेरे को तो निर्भव होना है. पर हम डर डर के रहते हैं पूरी जिंदगी, डर डर के, और इसी करके रोग भी पैदा हो रहे हैं हमारे. So what we have to do, we have to do just simple thing: gain the knowledge according to the spirituality, break from your body conscious and go to your soul conscious. When you go to the soul conscious, that means you get attached to your identity. When you get attached to identity, is what? Identity is nothing, it is an energy. My identity, that oneness, is an energy. And that energy is what? Fearless, full of love. Fearless of death, no fear of death, nothing. So, जिस दिन हमने अपने मूल के साथ जुड़ गए, the day we break from the body conscious and go to the soul conscious, then we are not going to be scared of anyone. There will be no fear, because fear rises because of losing. There's always a fear of losing people, fear of losing money, fear of losing our respect, fear of losing. But when we are connected to our identity, then we become a whole. We are absolutely complete. When we are complete, we are not dependent on anything. So spirituality says that we have to be fearless. The day you join and complete yourself, by completing yourself, by attaching yourself to the soul conscious, you become fearless. So I think I should end here and we should have the questions. अगर बोलती जाऊंगी तो बोलती जाऊंगी, इस करके यहाँ पर stop. So I think Rimple, you can take in the doubts and questions. हाँ जी.
Thank you, Buaji. And
Buaji, what if we take the questions tomorrow? Let them digest the fact. पूरा अच्छे से digest कर ले. आज बहुत ज़्यादा information दी हुई है. Rimple will immediately post it again on the YouTube also. Let them hear it again. And then tomorrow we'll have a proper question answer session. क्या कहते हो?
No problem.
Rimple?
yes, you're right. I'll just definitely, I want to share something with them.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Arvaji and Buaji. So, fear is a terror. Very rightly someone said, fear is a terror that hijack our mind and becomes an obstacle for our goal. So what to do? Get up, wake up, right? Today we have learned so many tools. And when Arvaji was teaching us, giving us a knowledge, I was making my notes and I tried to send it in the group as much I understood. And you can add in that. So let's all take a responsibility to face it, to fight it, and protect ourselves. How? By implementing the tools, what we learned from Arvaji and Buaji from last 3 days. So by this, I can end the session. But before I end the session, I would like to take an opportunity to announce upcoming series as well as few courses on Jeevan Jaj. As Jeevan Jaj, we all know, it is a language school, right? And we are coming with a new course of language with tiny tots, children who are just 3 to 8 years, right? To get connected with the language, with the wisdom, with the knowledge of Gurbani. So our course is going to start from Saturday, 7 December, 12 noon, and it is only once in a week. So those who want to make their children learn the language and get connected with the Gurbani. Gurbani is a scripture, holy book, where children can connect it to the quotes of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Nanak philosophy. So you can just take in this opportunity to get enrolled your children. I'll share the link in the group. You can just pass it everywhere. And it is free for each and every person in the world. Thank you so much for today's session. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Good night. Walaikum Salam. Ram Ram. Have a nice night.
And we'll see you tomorrow with all your questions. We look forward to it.
Please put on your cameras. I want to take your pictures with your smiling faces. Please all put on cameras.
Cheese.
Yes,
Cheese,
cheese.
हाँ.
Come on.
Cheese.
Yes.
नहीं अभी तो दिवाली आ रही ना, मिठाई के बारे में सोचते हैं, चीज के बारे में नहीं सोचते.
आज तो राजवंत सिंह की आवाज आ रही है, बड़े दिनों से. We
I
were
will
missing
share
you.
your-
Actually.
कल की भी मैं वीडियो बुआ जी यूट्यूब की अभी आप लोगों के साथ आज रात से पहले शेयर हो जाएगी. Yesterday session, today session with some notes I'm sharing. So rightly अरवा जी said, definitely आपने इतनी मेहनत की अरवा जी आपने बुआ जी ने कि हम जरूर इसको आज रिवाइज करेंगे और जितने क्वेश्चंस है, बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस है मुझे पता है, और कल we will meet 7 p.m. sharp to clear our doubts. Are we ready? ये दिवाली की सफाई करनी है हमको, यहाँ की घर की तो बहुत करते
शुरू
हैं.
कर लो सफाइयां शुरू करो. Yes, all of you give a smile. Pictures are being clicked. Yes, all of you. Rashida, Aminder, Sheerat, Harpreet, please, all of you also come on.
Kawal ji, Farida
Kawal
ji,
Kohli, yes,
Mandeep,
Jaspal, Manpreet, Aarti,
Ashida.
please come onto the screen. Yes, we want all of them to be. Yes, we want all your smiling faces. Sheerat, Jaspal. We have to
कुछ
take
मीठा
it.
हो जाए.
हाँ,
जी,
कुछ मीठा हो जाए.
मीठा.
सही है राजवन से.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So tomorrow at sharp 7, please get all your questions. All your questions. So have a night. Sweet dreams. Good night. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.